Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, the show where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Two more episodes of Season 2 of Space Ghost. Episode 5, Fire Drill, broadcast June 2nd, 1995. And then Le Livre Historia, June 9th, 1995. And we're not going to do the obvious thing here of just cutting in the previous episode for the second episode, because that's what the second episode is. It is bits from other episodes. We're 6 episodes into the second season and we're already doing a clip show.
Yeah. Yeah, for a show that doesn't particularly run a lot per season.
12-minute episodes. There's not even that many clips.
Is there something going on in season 2 where they just needed to do more clip shows or something?
So based on there is no commentary track for episode 6. There is one for episode 5, which we'll get on to. But from how they're talking in a commentary track for a couple of episodes ago, they were like it took 2.5 years to make season 1. And it does seem like season 2 wasn't meant to be season 2. Because all of this was produced during season 1. So I think it was just a case of Cartoon Network split the seasons up when this was just made as one long season.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
I wonder if maybe they wanted Tune-In to be a season premiere to try and boost the ratings for Tune-In, maybe? And that's what happened. Yeah, I get, from this, the David Byrne and Donny Osmond stuff was shot during season 1's production.
Which is impressive because Donny Osmond's already aware of the antics that Space Ghost and his crew get into.
Well, this is interesting because George Lowe is on the commentary track for that episode, and he is great value, by the way. I love George Lowe.
Yeah.
But he basically says that, where is it? He calls him Crazy Donny because every time I turned around back in the old radio days, Donny was popping up at the door promoting something. So George Lowe has a long history with Donny Osmond.
Which, I mean, I was talking last week about this kind of being, we're kind of in the stretch of Space Ghost that I'm starting to recognize on a regular basis. And I certainly remember Donny Osmond getting cut off from trying to promote his latest album with a panda bear clip.
I like that panda.
I like that panda too.
Yeah. Or just like them just Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, just like yeah, I think it's the boldest, maybe because of George. I wasn't aware that George Lowe had a history with Donny Osmond. So it kind of that kind of adds a new dimension to how they kind of take it.
Yeah, also, if you don't know, George Lowe did a lot of radio work back in the day. Did a lot of adverts in Canada as well, surprisingly. But if you know old radio, Donny Osmond was quite notorious for. He would turn up on any radio show to promote it. He was considered one of the easiest guests to get, to the point my interactions with radio are very small and very local. I know people who got Donny Osmond on their show, which has had 50 listeners per week kind of thing. If he could promote his album, Donny Osmond would turn up.
I mean, in the 90s, he was everywhere. Even as a little kid, I knew who Donny Osmond was, and there was no reason for me to know who this guy was.
He still is. It will have happened by the time this comes out, but you could still buy tickets to see him in Las Vegas. He is performing this week as we record this, which is surprising because I thought he was dead.
No, that's his sister.
That's his sister. Just to go back to your point, literally the first line in the commentary track for that episode is, "This is the first show. This is the first episode where the show became what it is now. Strange." So they agree with you on this one.
I wonder if we can get Donny Osmond on this thing.
Probably not now. I said I think he's dead.
Oh, Donny Osmond?
If he dies between now and then, this is going to look very weird. Let's hope he doesn't.
Fair
So
enough.
we need to wait. So what John is saying is that we have to wait a couple of weeks before we reach out to Donny's people
Yeah.
and see where it goes.
We'll just do the Peppa Pig game thing after the Queen died and just cut to a black screen at the end. Rest in peace, Donny Osmond.
Yeah.
Donny Osmond.
Apparently, so George Lowe's comments on Donny Osmond are just really, in general, quite funny. Because he's like, that's right, he began the conversation with, as you just heard, how did you get this job? And he also says, back in the radio days, we tried to get him dirty back on the radio and it just couldn't be done. I wrote a segment called Osmond PI. We'd always try to get him to yell things like "freeze butthole," but he wouldn't do it. Instead, he would yell like "freeze hiney face" or something very white bread, very sweet and very well behaved. So yeah, just the idea they couldn't ever in the radio get him to do anything dirty. They get quite a lot out of him with that in mind. They do seem to work around him quite a bit here by giving him a lot of.
He gets a lot of screen time. He gets a lot. Yeah.
Does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an Osmond, use your Osmond. You know.
Yeah. Compared to other Space Ghost guests we've seen, most notably whatever band happens to be getting free cake at the end of an episode, we get a significant portion of Osmond this episode.
Yeah, he does stuff with Zorak as well, which I quite like.
It's interesting too because it kind of speaks to the media training that Donny Osmond has/had. Like of the guests we've had so far, and there've been a couple of very, very good ones. He's just very like on the media reactionary piece of it, and this format is so new, but he adapted better than the other musical guys.
Yeah, he is the most surprising. I thought he was the one who would struggle the most. Like, because like guys like Weird Al, yeah, you get okay, he'll do fine because he's Weird Al. But I thought Donny Osmond would just have a toe. I thought Donny Osmond would be like some of the guys from last week, but no, he rode the wave pretty well.
That ruthless Osmond media training, they were like really making it work for his entire career.
Like Bonaducci, he's been doing it since he was a kid. I just don't think he has the rage issues, or maybe he does. That Bonaducci does.
I mean, the Osmonds are like hyper Christian now, right? Like that's kind of their thing.
You still have rage issues.
My Mormon.
There's some kind of denomination of Christian.
Something.
There's plenty of denominations out there. But my point stands. You can still be hyper aggressive.
But Donny keeps it inside. It's bottled up, just bubbling away.
Yeah, festering, tearing away at him.
So that's actually, Catholic
talking of Bonaducci and Osmond, the thing they talk about fighting is true. They had a boxing match in 1994. Bonaducci won on a 2-1 split decision after 3 rounds. Osmond debated the result and wanted round 4, but was not granted it. I recommend watching that boxing match, because you know how sort of influencer boxing is now, where it's like really polished. This was a radio station doing a charity exhibition, and you can tell neither guy really trained for it. So Osmond is just swinging. Like, Bonaducci's hat comes off, headgear comes off several times. It is a cluster. It feels like if you put me in the ring, just swing your arms. If the other person gets in range, that's fair enough.
We get enough likes. The 3 of us in the ring.
About 10 years later, Danny Bonaducci would have a celebrity boxing match, probably for charity, against Barry Williams, the oldest Brady boy, and he cleaned that Brady's clock, man. It was for some reason I saw that on TV when I was like a teenager. Yeah,
I believe it. The Brady boys never appealed to me as the kind of dudes who could hold their own in a fight, So the Osmonds never appealed that way either.
Tearless child stars who you could take in a fight.
But Danny Bonaducci, though.
Don't think I could take Bonaducci at this point.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did watch also a wrestling match he had with a guy called Eric Young, which was funny, mostly because I think whenever he's moved near Eric Young would do a backflip. Like, I'm not going to let you do anything to me. I'm just going to act like you've done something to me, so you don't do anything to me.
So does Bonaducci just want to fight people under the guise of charity? Is that what we're getting to?
I think because he had the assault conviction in the late 90s. He had the assault conviction. And I think after that, he kind of pivoted it to full Jerry Springer. I'm the crash out icon of the new millennium. So let's go to wrestling. Let's go to boxing. Unlike Donny Osmond, who, as again, you can buy tickets for Donny Osmond show in Las Vegas somehow.
There's 2 musicians, of course, that are interviewed in this first episode.
Oh, yes, David Byrne.
Of Talking Heads fame, yes. David Byrne, stopped making sense himself, comes on a show that has long since stopped making sense.
To promote his solo album, also called David Byrne.
Yeah.
George Lowe's comments about David Byrne are actually quite funny, because he's like, David and I had an interesting conversation before tape was actually rolling about death. That was really fascinating. And he's like, David was just as weird in person. I don't think it's an act with him. I think he's off on another plane, God bless him.
God bless.
And yeah, this is one of the most awkward interviews. David is genuinely not comfortable. And you
Yeah,
can tell.
you can see in his body language he doesn't know what's going on, and I don't think he ever recovers either.
No, I do quite like, you can clearly tell with when Lowe does the what happens when we die, he's clearly old pro, he's clearly trying to bring Byrne back. We've already had this conversation, so you already have something to, but Byrne just doesn't know what to do. I don't think he even picks up that he's trying to pull him back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do much better with him. I think because David Byrne just looks generally a little bit funny, and it kind of works for his character that him just not really interacting is funny.
Yeah, like kinda, but it's so weird because you have the comedy guy next to Donny Osmond who crushes it. Like that's the weird part about it, is because he, like, it's talking heads. It's like there should be something a little bit, but then here's Donny Osmond just killing it in all of his Christian glory. Like
Donny Osmond name dropping Malta like an old pro.
like just, that was the craziest part to me. Donny Osmond just just interacting with the entire cast and doing it so naturally. And I had a minute where I'm like, was he doing animation stuff at this point? Like, was he really entrenched in this world yet? And I couldn't remember.
Yeah, no, it's just so weird that he just did really well. Oh, also want to bring up the start a bit at the start. Let's talk about all the baskets and getting a mug named Mr. Beefy. Ad lib. That was literally George Lowe complaining in recordings that he sent people at the Cartoon Network baskets and didn't get a thank you note. And they found it in the recording and put it in. And in the commentary, George Lowe is like, I didn't ever actually get a thank you note. He's like, just reminding you here, no one ever said thank you.
So rude.
I know. I love George Lowe in this. He's offered his little word. Like, I'm actually quite offended.
He should be.
No, they sound like lovely baskets.
And then we get another clip show episode where the whole back half of it is just storybook time.
Yeah, Livre di Historia. Lokar's back, everyone.
Le Livre d'Histoire.
I mean, Lokar, so we've got Lokar, we've got more of the Jim Carrey than we did earlier this season, along with Chuck Russell, who directed The Mask. Yeah, that's fascinating because you would think that Jim Carrey would be another one that would kind of be dialed into what Space Ghost is doing. And maybe they're just because they're catching him visibly at the end of a junket. You can see the mask stuff.
He's tired.
Yeah, he's just like, come on, man, I'm almost done plugging this thing.
The director did great. Like, I can't remember his name, but I think the director, like, he did
Charles Russell.
Yeah.
I think also, so I have been wrong previously. I said this was a DVD extra. This was originally made for the VHS release of The Mask, hence why the joke of Space Ghost constantly plugging himself is a thing. So, yeah, this is made right at the end as like just a bonus feature for VHS, so you can tell Carrey doesn't particularly care what's going on.
He doesn't carry at all.
We do get some cuts as well to this in this clip show format. We get like I did get the Mask VHS to check. We get like a full intro in the VHS version, and we start with Space Ghost and Zorak raving about the dog in the mask, and they do keep bringing that dog back up. That's why Space Ghost's thing is, I want to be a hero, like Lassie, because it's building on that gag, but they've cut out all the other mentions of the dog. I guess because if you haven't just seen the movie, that makes no sense. The end credits also features a really good gag where it's Space Ghost trying to go through all of the time zones for his show and slowly getting them more and more wrong before he just ends up with shouting, "Are we on in Guam? Guam, are we on in Guam?" Which is really, I really like that. I get why they cut that. It doesn't make that much sense in this format, but I would recommend buying a VHS of The Mask just to watch a Space Ghost episode? Probably not, but if you could find the full thing, I'm sure it's online somewhere.
How long did it take you to track down that VHS?
Surprisingly little time.
Huh.
I mean, it's a huge movie in 1995.
Yeah, it was a big movie and had quite a big VHS run, so it also wasn't that expensive. It was less than Duel Masters a couple of weeks ago, so there we go. This episode's also weird because for many years this episode wasn't available on any of the DVDs either, I guess because maybe there was some weird exclusivity thing with the Mask bonus content.
Like thou shall not put this on home video outside of the mask for 20 years. And now it's been like over 30 years. So you can
Thou
totally.
shalt not take Jim Carrey's name in vain. They put that in the good book.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey will come back as Robotnik, though, so it's okay. This weirdly, even though because usually the trend with these is if they're not on the DVDs, they only got shown once or never got rerun. This did get rerun, just with weird cuts. So it was only shown in full once, but then all the bits of Lokar being annoyed by spiders gets cut from the reruns, and the ending, America's Funniest Funny Videos, also gets cut from reruns.
That's really weird. Like, because to cut up something that's already short that way is like, was it for like advertising space or like that's just a weird choice?
That's the thing. Like, if they'd cut this episode in half, I would have understood the edit. But the spiders bit and the funny videos would only, I timed it out, would only remove 3 minutes. Space Ghost's already under episode length. It's even with the 3 minutes gone, it's over advert filler length. I don't fully get what it was. I do wonder if the Lokar spiders joke is because it wasn't done. Because it's weird, because he just starts twitching and complaining about spiders, but there are no spiders visible.
Well, so we didn't have the assets for that.
It makes me wonder if the plan was to have him covered in spiders. They ran out of time, and then in later versions, they're like, okay, that joke is stupid with that. If we can't finish it, let's just not have it.
I get it. I understand. If you hate spiders, you don't keep that to yourself. You just kind of randomly invoke your arachnophobia.
You start twitching furiously.
Just to randomly invoke Sam's arachnophobia.
Oh man, there's a sequence in Resident Evil Requiem that will live on in my nightmares forever now.
I mean,
just think about the singing lady.
There's two.
Yeah, there is.
There's two singing ladies.
And both of them sound like Donny Osmond. No.
Yeah. Better than David Byrne. No, actually, what am I saying? I like the Talking Heads.
Okay, it's just not a good interview.
It's not a good interview, you know.
Yeah.
Just in case you're curious, the America's Funniest Funny Video segment, all of those are videos of the crew, and they are all taken during filming of Space Ghost. So they're just wandering around near the studio. Yeah. So the dog is the guy's dog. So that also confirms my question from last week. The lassie was an actual lassie. It wasn't someone on the crew's dog, because that was someone on the crew's dog, and that was not Lassie.
No. I like that there's a weird, like, there's a visible sense of, like, the community of making this show, if that makes sense. Like, you can see the affection for this weird little project that became a 9-year-long project.
Then again, that just makes the edit weirder, because you obviously own this footage. Like, was made, there's no, like, copyright. The guy's like, oh, maybe it is, like, America's Funniest Home Videos, like, offcuts, and they lost rights. No, they had the rights. Especially
maybe that guy got laid off.
Maybe he did, because the panda is from CNN. We do know that from the commentary, because literally they sent someone across the block to go to CNN and ask for some footage.
Of the panda?
Apparently not of the panda, just of ask CNN for some footage, and they got given the panda.
I kind of love that. Like, I love that CNN was just like, yeah, sure. Like,
also, like, CNN, part of the, Cartoon Network's part of the Turner Broadcasting Corporation.
I kind of like to imagine that the CNN guys, like, the Space Ghost crew were like sort of Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses to them. It's like, oh god, the Space Ghost guys are coming again. Pretend to be out.
Yeah.
They want more Jack Klugman footage.
They gave footage at the office.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
It's one of the
Space Ghost guys are just terrorizing the Turner broadcast offices.
I mean, it does sound like they were, based on how many bits of the commentary are like, yeah, we went over to this show and got this, or we went over to these guys and asked for this.
It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of other, because, yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers is already the conglomerate. Warner Brothers is producing Friends at this point for NBC.
I mean, like, it was like back in the 60s, like on the Star Trek lot, they would be going to other lots and like taking and like stealing props all the time. Like that stuff happened constantly in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, they basically, so many early Star Trek designs are just stuff they nicked from the Outer Limits because you could.
Or like anytime they ended up on like the gangster planet, you knew that somebody else on the lot was filming a gangster thing, and they were like, "Well,
Yeah, this kind of fits, and we got Tommy guns now, so cool.
I can't remember the headline. There is one newspaper that once you see it in stuff, you can't. It's in a big prop rental company, have this fake newspaper, and it is in everything. The second you start noticing it, you cannot stop noticing it. It's very fun. I can't remember, because the headline is also something really weird. It's like it's really dated, it's something like the 60s or 70s, but just people keep using it because it's a newspaper. No one's going to read the headline.
Yeah. I do find it fascinating that the one person who like visibly admires or audibly admires Space Ghost, or at least is kind of along for the ride, is Chuck Russell,
yeah,
who, if you don't know Chuck Russell's work outside of The Mask, he also directed Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and the 80s reboot of The Blob. So, like that, he would just kind of sit there and vibe with space. That he's a guy that I might want to like maybe puff, indulge in the puff with.
It is cute how they have like he's like one of the only guys who've seen reference the original Space Ghost show a little bit.
Yeah.
I do love the line with he's like, and he has some teens, right? And Mulder's like, their history.
yeah." They mentioned the monkey too.
They
Yeah.
do mention the
They
monkey.
do mention, yeah, it's not Gleek. Gleek is the Super Friends monkey,
No,
but
he's banned from this show forever.
He's
yeah.
been down from the show forever.
The Galaxy Trio. I'm trying to remember what the monkey's name is in the Galaxy Trio.
I can't.
Is it?
It's
Something
got to
like
be
that.
something. We also get a Birdman reference in Fire Drill. Not is it in Fire Drill? Yes, because Space Ghost goes off, so they're building the Birdman set
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
door. So we get an early hint of Birdman.
Like I remember when we get deeper into Space Ghost, when the couple of times Birdman took over and like his drinking problem when he took over, like I don't know why that sticks out in my brain, but like Birdman's drinking problem sticks out the most to me.
Bird. I will say I love Birdman. I do not like Lokar. Right? Lokar just doesn't seem to have much of a character. Like we do later on. We do like Zorak takes over the show bits, and those just always tend to work better.
I think they're trying to do that like Turner Classic Movies thing with him, because like Turner Classic was such a thing in the 90s where you would turn to that channel and they would be throwing on like some public domain movie, and you'd have the guy with the British accent being like, and this movie impacted this kind of filmmaking because they used 3 cameras and one person was on 1 foot during it. Like that's like that kind of energy.
Yeah,
You know?
Leonard Moulton, I believe his name was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I know that because Pearl kidnaps him in an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I like it,
Yeah.
the free association that that Space Ghost causes.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm-
it is. I mean,
A lot of the Donny Osmond episode has like free. I love his Mr. Confident, which
Confident.
George, Lowe was riffing in those, but yeah, I think Historia does feel like a clip show, in that this is just clips. There is no like overarching joke here. The early bit of like where Lokar's like, oh, this is to fill a gap in the network. That doesn't feel like a fourth wall break. That just feels like the truth. This is a rushed, just I don't know. This feels like that could have done with something to happen to make it more interesting.
it's almost an apology and an explanation to the audience. It's like we just have to get through this.
Yeah,
It is very funny to me that they use the storybook guys again for the clip show, because like you said when we were talking about that episode, they loved those guys, and I do feel like this was just a way to kind of shoehorn it back in a little bit.
yeah. What's interesting to me is they also have Lokar basically point out that people didn't like it. So either they predicted people wouldn't like it, or they finished this dialogue really close to air and had already seen the reaction to Storybook House. Which, again, in this weird trend on the Deep Space Ghost DVD, the episodes you want to have commentary don't have commentary, but the episodes you don't think are going to have commentary do. Because I would love to know if that was like, we just knew people weren't going to like it, or we thought that would be a funny Lokar bit, or if it was like, oh yeah, no, people complained, and we're going to work the complaints in and play it off. But no, it is cool to see the storytellers again. Them and their weird guitar music.
And their lack of blinking.
You don't need to blink when you have true art.
I will admit, because we we watched the rips. Like, I will admit, when I was watching it, I was like, was there like damage done to the rip? Like, did this get? I genuinely couldn't remember. I didn't remember this episode at all, and I was looking at it, being like, did something happen to the data? Did it get like? Did I do something?
Right.
I restarted my laptop. Look, I'm not lying.
When I was editing the Storybook House and getting clips for short form stuff, I did fall asleep at my desk. It's been a long couple of weeks, and I woke up and I just look up, and I have like full screen, just him staring at me point blank. I had one of those moments like, am I dreaming? Do you know in Twin Peaks when the giant comes out of the red room? I was like, oh god, I've blacklodged. Help!
He'll have
mother.
But
David Lynch went on Space Coast to Coast.
Oh man.
But as we do reach the end, I do have a new thing to find. Space Ghost went on the Donny and Marie show.
Oh,
What?
So they paid it forward. Okay. All right.
Yeah. George Lowe went on Donny and Marie. I need to find a clip of it, but
You gotta find it.
I guess was that also in the same network, maybe?
Was it Warner Brothers Television? I mean,
maybe. I haven't looked that much into Donny and Marie because
I don't know what studio's behind that one, but I wonder if they were on Warner. I wonder if he was on Reprise. I wonder if he was because that's Warner Brothers record label. So.
Makes sense. He's middle of the road and old enough.
Yeah.
But Green Day's on Reprise.
They weren't until like later on. Like sort of like late 90s Reprise was still quite easy listening.
Yeah.
I know, I just need to find that. I've only seen one clip of the Donny Osmond and Marie show, and that's when they do a weird disco Star Wars number with a stormtrooper who has surprisingly big codpiece on.
Well, you got to protect your assets.
This stormtrooper had a lot of assets.
Clearly,
the Force was strong with that one.
Clearly, they were the droids you were looking for.
Yeah. Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi.
Not from a Jedi.
Darth Plagueis, the surprisingly hung.
That was in the book, actually. So what are our final thoughts?
I mean, I love the Donny Osmond stuff, and I'll be frank, while like David Byrne isn't having a great time, it's like it's the level of cringe that I can appreciate, and yeah, again, it's odd that Chuck Russell of everybody, you would think Jim Carrey would be more into it, but no, it's the Chuck Russell seems to dig it more, which I guess props.
Yeah, Fire Drill is a really good episode. Probably one, I would argue, one of the best Space Ghost ever did. It's one I would also recommend getting the DVD for, just to hear George Lowe just riffing a little bit on him. He's just so funny in general. So surprised by Donny Osmond. Yeah, David Byrne is a disaster, but they get a lot of comedy out of him, and he has a generally quite funny face, so it works. Historia is... it's worth it for the Mars thing. I would say if you can find the full episode from the Mars VHS, it is slightly better just for the dog running gag and just the Guam gag at the end. I just really enjoyed. But this is a good way to see it. Just watch the entirety of Storybook House. The second half of this episode is kind of unneeded. But it's nice that it exists. Less Lokar in future, though, please.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just impressed with the Dark Horse interviews here. Like Donny Osmond and the director, again, whose name is just not sticking in my goddamn head.
Charles Russell.
Charles Russell. Both of them were great. They were some fantastic interviews, and I'm a little shocked that the funnier quote unquote guys just could not keep up with what was going on. And granted, Jim Carrey was tired. There was a lot going on, but that does mean that we have pulled into our final destination. That's right. It's time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us, and the shows that made you, you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang.
Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, Donny
Osmond.